Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Demon Beast ancestor maintained a distance from that distant, massive object. He was resisting the ripples of impact acting against him while trying his best to see that object ahead of him. He could only make out, amidst the dazzling light produced by something flying at an exceptionally fast speed, a faint figure of a humanoid life form. This humanoid life form was so tall that its height exceeded 100 million light-years, and there it was, just lying flat on the ground. No matter how powerful Demon Beast ancestor was, no matter how he racked his brains, he could not come up with any idea of how he could see better. All he could see was an unclear situation before him. Then, shortly after, at a terrifically fast speed, the massive object vanished from the limits of Demon Beast ancestor's scope of view. Humanoid life form. Demon Beast ancestor stood rooted to his spot for a long time. God. In terms of size, this massive object was slightly bigger than a miniature universe, or even the universe boat. How could it actually be a humanoid life form? Even if a universe supreme master tried his very best to expand his godly body, reaching the size of 1 light-year already proved to be exhausting. The more a godly body expanded, the more their godly power had to be consumed. Besides, none of them had ever reached a size as big as 100 million light-years. Moreover, it maintained a terrifying speed comparable to uninterrupted teleportation. It might be right to say that Universe Supreme Masters were able to overcome the speed limit, but the faster their speed got, the more of their godly power would be consumed. The pressure that their bodies were subjected to would also become stronger. Such factors accounted for why no Universe Supreme Master could achieve such a feat, and for a godly body to expand to such a massive size, its speed was bound to be reduced. Bigger than a miniature universe. And a speed that was beyond one's wildest imagination. No, it can't possibly be a living soul, nor a great being. There can't be a great being that is so formidable. Demon Beast ancestor was in denial, unable to bring himself to believe that such a great being truly existed. How much more powerful would this great being be than him? A mere gaze could have seemingly destroyed him. It must be a strange object like the universe boat. The only difference is that universe boat took the form of a boat, and this object takes the form of a human. Demon Beast ancestor willed himself to consider the manner, and instantly felt much better. Another universe boat. The moment Demon Beast ancestor considered this, he felt the same suffocating breathlessness again. The 3 most dangerous lands. A long time ago, Universe Ocean had not been one of the 3 most dangerous lands, and the universe boat had not existed. The universe boat had only appeared much later. Another being that was at least at the level of universe boat. Demon Beast ancestor was highly emotional. And no other great being has encountered it yet. I am the first. So long as I can grab this opportunity. Catch up with it. Demon Beast ancestor was full of fighting spirit, and no longer worried about the dangers involved. After all, whether that was a formidable and terrifying life form or a strange object, nothing would be greatly affected. If it were a formidable and terrifying life form, seeing how it lay flat on the ground, it was either deep in slumber or had been annihilated. If it was a strange object, then all the more, there was nothing to fear. After a long-distance teleportation, Demon Beast ancestor immediately caught up with that massive object that was flying at an extremely fast speed. The massive object continued flying at the same speed, and Demon Beast ancestor often had to teleport to a much further distance ahead of it to be in the lead. When the other party had overtaken him, he would, without further ado, teleport a great distance ahead to take the lead again. Change direction. Demon Beast ancestor executed his endless domain-type true treasure, and a blurry black light enshrouded the surrounding region. Then he manipulated the domain under his control, and executed his most powerful secret technique. At that moment, close to 90% of a boundless domain under his influence converged to form a huge, fuzzy tail. This huge tail lashed at the massive object right away with a loud whistling sound. A prior calculation of distance had been made, and right away, the tail lashed out at the body of the fast-approaching massive object. The fuzzy tail was immediately shattered to pieces. Yet the massive object continued to advance. Seems like there is no change in direction at all. Demon Beast Ancestor was a tad bewildered. He had intended to change the direction at which that massive object was flying, which explained why he had hit from the side. Apparently, he had not dared to use a true treasure weapon to directly bombard the massive object. He had been worried that the impact of the rebound tremors alone would cause him to sustain another round of heavy injuries. This was why he had used a domain-type true treasure, so even if this domain attack were to be destroyed, he would not be greatly affected. At first, he had thought that this was a non-living object, so bombarding it from the side would have at least caused it to change its direction, even if only to a minor extent. Could it be because it is too big? Maybe that's why it was so stable even when flying. Demon Beast Ancestor muttered to himself. I'll try again. Demon Beast Ancestor teleported repeatedly in order to catch up with the extremely fast-moving massive object, and every time, he forcefully attacked it by its side. Almost every day, he would attack up to a few hundred times. In the blink of an eye, more than 100 years had passed. It is not as if my attacks have not caused it to change direction. My attacks did have some influence over it. It's just that the effect is very, very small. Demon Beast God was very worked up. I have been bombarding it continuously for more than 100 years in order to cause it to change direction by only a small degree. The magnitude of that change in direction was so minuscule that even I, a Universe Supreme Master, can barely detect the change. Even a Universe Supreme Master could barely detect it. How small a magnitude could that be? Furthermore, he had to spend more than 100 years of continuous bombardment against that massive object in order to achieve such a slight change in direction. Continue. I must bring it to a halt before other great beings discover it. Demon Beast Ancestor was filled with fighting spirit. He felt that he could still afford to be hopeful, as Universe Ocean was, after all, enormous. Normally, when great beings traveled about within Universe Ocean, they had to depend on natural wormholes. But under such continuous teleportation, based on the direction of that massive object, attempting to fly all the way to arrive at the primal universe would probably take at least 1 million years. The patience of a super great being was very strong, so even if Demon Beast God had to keep struggling for millions of eras, he would still do so with much patience, yet he had this incessant worry of being discovered. Although Universe Ocean was vast, other great beings still had to move about through the normal method of using natural wormholes. Therefore the chances of encountering this massive object were extremely low. Nonetheless, he was still worried. I'll continue to bombard it. Other than the 3 most dangerous lands within Universe Ocean, there are many other dangerous lands that are one notch less risky. Based on the direction of flight of this massive object, so long as he could bring it to change its course by a few degrees, it would have to pass through a particular dangerous land, Swirling Water River. Demon Beast Ancestor was looking forward expectantly as he continued to rain attacks on the massive object. There were many dangerous lands within Universe Ocean. The most well-known ones were the 3 most dangerous lands, and there were many other dangerous lands that were a notch less risky. For example, Sitting Mountain Guest's place of residence within Universe Ocean was one of the dangerous lands. Another 5,000 years passed. Now the direction is accurate. With an undying perseverance that could be likened to that of a worker, and gnawing at a huge mountain, Demon Beast Ancestor persisted for more than 6,000 years, and continued to bombard the massive object on its side. Finally, that massive object was made to deviate a little from its original course. This tiny change, coupled with the long flight distance, subsequently accumulated to cause a huge deviation. This would bring the massive object crashing into the dangerous land of Swirling Water River. There will always be many great beings in the 3 most dangerous lands. And the other dangerous lands that are less risky are seldom visited by great beings. As for the most common dangerous lands, there isn't a single great being to be found. Hopefully, there will be no great being in Swirling Water River. Demon beast ancestor prayed fervently. Another 3 years flew by. Swirling water river. It was a river that rotated consistently, with a total of 12 huge radial arms flowing with water. Amidst the swirling water were numerous miniature islands. These islands were different in sizes, ranging from a few light years to a few hundred light years or beyond. As for the size of the entire swirling water river, its largest diameter could be as big as 6 million light years. Of course, this was still a lot smaller than the 3 most dangerous lands. Swirling water river's diameter is as wide as 6 million light years. Somewhere far away from the edge of swirling water river, demon beast ancestor found himself a spot to settle down and keep watch from a far distance away. He had executed an extremely long-distance teleportation, followed by a one-time transit through a natural wormhole to rush over. This was how he had managed to arrive in advance. Swirling water river is so huge, and that massive object's diameter is over 100 million light years, demon beast ancestor was muttering to himself. The difference in size between the two is not too far off the mark. There is a possibility of stopping it with swirling water river. Although he was muttering about the possibility of a positive outcome, he was still aware that the chances of stopping it were slim. If he could not succeed this time, he was worried that it would be extremely difficult for him to get the massive object to change course and crash into another dangerous land again. Suddenly, the peaceful swirling water river, which was eternally rotating, had 12 huge radial arms of flowing water flow, each of which possessed unfathomable power. Speaking of power, it was more powerful than any other great being by a few thousand, or even 10,000 times. This natural power was unbelievably terrifying. The history of its existence was even more ancient than that of the universe boat. At that very moment, a being appeared that was even more massive than the entire swirling water river. At a terrifying speed, the humanoid life form, with a towering height of over 1 million light years, crashed mercilessly into swirling water river with loud rumbles. The 12 radial arms, which originally had been so strong and powerful, were crashed with such force that, within an instant, they were ruptured and scattered all over the place. A large amount of water splashed far out into universe ocean. The little islands within swirling water river, upon being struck by such a high-speed attack, were like eggs exploding one after the other. What is happening? At that moment, in the deep water region of swirling water river, a universe master, who was maneuvering a top-tier palace true treasure, was in the midst of exploring through swirling water river. To him, exploring swirling water river was far easier and safer than exploring the 3 most dangerous lands. To him, this was a form of relaxation. Yet he suddenly felt the entire swirling water river trembling. Apparently, the high-speed crash brought about an impact that was so strong that the ripples could even cause this palace true treasure to tremble. However, this massive object was too fast to be seen clearly, and this universe master was only left with a glimmer of doubt in his mind. Soon after, the boundless, massive object whistled past in a fleeting moment, and this top-tier palace true treasure, which was even more fragile than the little islands before, instantly exploded. The universe master, who was inside the palace true treasure, was annihilated right away. An impact of such a level. Even a universe master wearing a supreme true treasure armor would have been annihilated, not to mention this universe master. It was sweeping up everything. It was like a vehicle flying through a puddle. The water splashed out in all directions, but the vehicle continued to zoom past the pool at the same rate of speed. Nothing had changed. The massive object was still advancing at an extremely terrifying speed. In an instant, it passed through swirling water river, causing this dangerous land to be reduced to fragments. Water splashed out into all corners of universe ocean. As for that massive object, it was still moving at that terrifying speed, rocketing past swirling water ocean as it left a trail of flowing light in its wake. Soon, it exceeded the limit of demon beast ancestor's scope of view and vanished from sight. Demon beast ancestor stared at the scene before him, dumbfounded. He had fervently hoped that swirling water river could stop that massive object. Even if, in his heart, he had known that the chances were not high, he had nonetheless held on to some hope. Reality was always so cruel. Had the massive object reduced its speed at all? It was simply too fast. Even Demon Beast Ancestor could not judge, but the implications were clear. Even if there had been 10, or even 100 swirling water rivers in the way, there still would have been no stopping this massive object. Within the universe of the Divine Eye clan's first True Master, an unlucky Universe Master reported to First True Master, recounting the events he had experienced. It was the swirling water river. At the time, I was still within my palace true treasure when I felt a strange yet terrifying tremor. I didn't have time to respond when my top-tier place true treasure was instantaneously ruptured, and my other godly body was annihilated within a fleeting moment. Teacher, this was what happened. A top-tier palace true treasure was shattered in an instant, said First True Master. He also felt as though something bizarre was happening. Swirling water river. Someone would suffer losses in Swirling Water River even if he was in a top-tier, true treasure palace, if he was not reckless. How terrifying that palace was. For top-tier palace true treasures to be instantly annihilated and universe masters to be instantly killed, Swirling Water River couldn't be that dangerous. I'll go and check myself. The first True Master sent a message to the other 4 True Masters, then headed off to Swirling Water River. After only 3 days. The first True Master stood in the chaos air and looked ahead, frowning. Water stretched everywhere in the distance, yet none of the islands in Swirling Water River could be found. The entire Swirling Water River was destroyed. The first True Master was bewildered. He knew clearly how powerful the natural environment of Universe Ocean could be. Even all the great beings in Universe Ocean combined couldn't destroy a dangerous place, not to mention the entire Swirling Water River. I feel that, the first True Master frowned. Swirling Water River was destroyed by an exceptional power, and it was hit directly at the front, causing the water in Swirling Water River to blast everywhere while the islands were all destroyed. The first True Master was thrilled. A chance. A great chance. He was roaring on the inside. He didn't know what had caused the scene in front of him, but he was pretty sure that it was an existence beyond his imagination, and it was a great opportunity. We're facing our true death. This unknown object might be the only chance for my race to transcend incarnation. A giant halo suddenly appeared behind his head. There was a gigantic, single eye of flesh and blood in the halo. It glared at the endless space in front of it as if it could see through everything. In that giant, single eye was a blurry trace of light hitting Swirling Water River, making it crumble. It's an existence millions of times more terrifying than Swirling Water River. Even I can't reverse the time and space to see how it is. Even if I use both my talents and techniques, I can only locate its direction. It's going that way. First True Master nodded. I'll start chasing it. He teleported and followed in that direction. One could tell where the giant object was flying to. However, it would take a long time to precisely locate. The first True Master was called Divine Eye True Master, so he was quite proficient at observation and inspection. He immediately revealed everything. After a couple of days, the giant object was still flying at its original speed in Universe Ocean. That? The first True Master was thrilled. Even using all his power, he could barely see that the object was a prone, human-shaped creature. It was 160 million light-years tall, and it was traveling 120 million times faster than light speed. Only the first True Master, by putting all his power on his divine eye, could tell. As for Demon Beast Ancestor, who had also been following it, he wasn't able to confirm the speed. First True Master. I found it first. Demon Beast Ancestor yelled in anger. Ha ha ha. You? Do you really think you can have this chance all to yourself? The first True Master didn't give a damn about Demon Beast Ancestor. He had 2 supreme true treasures, while Demon Beast Ancestor had none. No, I'm thinking about that. Now that we found this chance together, we'll own this chance all by ourselves. Demon Beast Ancestor yelled. Don't tell any of the other 4 True Masters to come. If they do, I'll spread the news and tell the entire Universe Ocean. You? The first True Master was furious. This was indeed a wonderful opportunity, which might help him transcend incarnation. Of course, the first True Master wanted 2 more True Masters to come to help him, but he had to consider the threat of Demon Beast Ancestor. After all, Demon Beast Ancestor's avatar was in the original universe, which meant he could spread the news in no time. "Okay," said the first True Master. "We alone will claim this opportunity." The first True Master and Demon Beast Ancestor both tried to stop the giant object. Neither of them dared to even get close to it, given its speed, and the space and time around it had already turned hollow. They could only fly after it. The shock waves alone could injure them. And if they got closer, they might be killed. What was worse, before they could even catch up with the object, it had already made it out of their sights. "Stop! Stop it! Change its direction!" The first True Master and Demon Beast Ancestor were like 2 insignificant creatures trying to stop a mountain. Clearly, they couldn't do it. More than 3,000 years passed, and 5 more powers had already discovered the giant object. The Divine Eye Clan and Demon Beast Ancestor were only 2 of them. However, Demon Beast Ancestor, the first True Master, and all the other 5 powers who joined later could only despair. The giant object rushed by and disappeared from the sights of those 18 great beings. "Useless. We can't stop it whatsoever." The first True Master shook his head and sighed. "We've already tried everything, and that giant object has already destroyed 3 dangerous palaces, yet its speed hasn't changed at all. Apparently, those dangerous places are nothing to it. There are only 2 ways to slow it down. 1, it crashes into the original universe. The original universe is definitely powerful enough to suppress it and slow it down. 2, it is slowed by the 3 lands of extremis. Any of the 3 lands of extremis is certainly as powerful as this object and will likely stop it. What do you think?" Everyone present looked at each other. They felt helpless. They could indeed slightly change the direction of the giant object to make it hit some dangerous places, but it was pointless. If it collided with the 3 lands of extremis, all the powers in the lands of extremis would gather. If it hit the original universe, the powers in Universe Ocean would have no chance at all. "We'll make it known. If it hits any of the 3 lands of extremis, the other powers will know. Besides, if we want to redirect it to one of the 3 lands of extremis, we definitely need help from others. We'll make it known." Everyone felt helpless. They wanted this chance all to themselves, but it was too great for them to keep it to themselves. "I won't let it crash into the original universe," the first True Master thought. If it got into the original universe, the Divine Eye Clan wouldn't have any shred of a chance. "We have to redirect it," Rampaging Devil God yelled. He was the 5th power to join. "If we don't redirect it, it might affect other miniature universes if it keeps racing toward the original universe. Although miniature universes are enormous, they might not be able to resist it as well as Swirling Water River. They'll be crushed instantly." Everyone nodded. Yes. Universe Boat, Tilted Peak Sector, and Flowing Level Mountain were all indestructible. As for miniature universes, they only belonged to true gods. Although they were too large for other true gods to move, the object was already much stronger than true gods. It would be easy for it to destroy miniature universes. As long as the shock was enough, it could easily destroy the origin of a miniature universe, crushing the entire miniature universe. If it could easily crush Swirling Water River, it could easily destroy a miniature universe as well. All the powers in Universe Ocean were thrilled. In one of the 3 lands of extremis, in Universe Boat, Luo Feng blinked. "Teacher," he said. "Are you saying that a giant object was spotted in Universe Ocean, and it's flying 20 million times faster than light speed, at a height of 60 million light-years? And it's in humanoid form?" "Teacher, who's making up lies? The limit in Universe Ocean is 100 times light speed. As for Universe Supreme Masters, 1,000,000 times light speed is the limit. 20 million times faster than light speed. And it's larger than Universe Boat, in humanoid form." "It's not a lie," said Primal Chaos City Leader. "The news comes not only from one great being but many, including quite a few Universe Supreme Masters. Leave Universe Boat as soon as possible and meet us there. Okay, said Luo Feng. It might take me 200 years to get out of Universe Boat. I'll come back now. Luo Feng finished talking with his teacher. What are you playing at? Luo Feng whispered. A giant object like Universe Boat, flowing level mountain, and tilted peak sector. In the shape of a human. The very possibility set Luo Feng's heart on fire. I'll go check it out myself. Go. Boat of Mausoleum changed direction in the endless black wind and revealed its base form. It flew toward the exit of Universe Boat at its fastest rate of speed. Still, it took him over 200 years to get out of Universe Boat. The action team of the Hong Alliance immediately sent Luo Feng the coordinates through the virtual universe. Come, Luo Feng. We are here. I'm coming. The coordinates kept changing. Apparently, the strike force from the Hong Alliance was following that giant object. Actually, in the past 200 years, all the powers were rushing toward that giant object, so Luo Feng no longer had any doubts about the authenticity. Although he saw some images of a blurry, humanoid shape through the virtual universe, he wasn't overwhelmed. He needed to see the real version with his own eyes. Luo Feng kept teleporting and caught up with the strike force of the Hong Alliance. Luo Feng. Luo Feng. Milky Way Horde Leader. Milky Way Horde Leader. More than 180 Universe Masters from the Hong Alliance, led by Primal Chaos City Leader, had gathered here. Lots of great beings from the United Forces Alliance had also rushed here. They all knew what was going on and had called a truce during such a crucial moment. Luo Feng, said Primal Chaos City Leader. Right now, 68 Universe Supreme Masters, and more than 3,200 Universe Masters have gathered here. They are all the most powerful elites from the powers of Universe Ocean and the two Holy Lands. This many? Luo Feng was amazed by the number. He teleported himself following the strike force from the Hong Alliance. Wow! Luo Feng saw a large group of beings in the space of Universe Ocean, all sticking close to one another. The weakest of them was a Universe Master. It was indeed thrilling. Luo Feng then turned around and looked into the distance. He teleported himself in the direction where the giant object was moving. It's coming. It's coming. Though none of them could see it, they could sense the invisible shock waves spreading toward them. The horrifying shock waves spread out fully. Then the giant object swept by them like a streak of gleaming light. Even Luo Feng felt that like an ant beneath the weight of a mountain. As he looked at the towering, human-shaped creature, he, as well every other great being in Universe Ocean, felt like an insect. It's too. Luo Feng opened his eyes wide, dumbfounded. Luo Feng was truly thrilled. He wasn't sure whether the human figure was a being who was dead, or in a state of slumber, or just a human-shaped valuable. Based on what he knew about the ancient civilization, there existed valuables in human form, especially machine-type valuables. Universe Boat is a boat-shaped valuable of the machine type. That human figure might be a valuable of the machine type. Luo Feng was more excited than ever. After all, he felt fortunate just to be able to take a look at it. If, instead of a valuable, it's a great being. Luo Feng's excitement intensified as he considered that possibility. Incredible. Only the ancient civilization had great beings at that level. The thousands of great beings in Universe Ocean started to teleport at the same time. They flew to a point ahead of the human-shaped object, but remained to the side, as they didn't dare to fly right in the middle of its path. The Universe Supreme Masters transmitted their voices again. Prepare. Hit it again. All the top great beings from Universe Ocean held their power, and soon, the giant being showed up within their sights. Actually, it wasn't accurate to say that they showed up within their sights, as light speed in Universe Ocean was actually 100 times faster than light speed in the original universe. If they had merely used their eyes to see, it would have been impossible to see the human-shaped object clearly. Rather, Luo Feng and the others all used vibration waves to determine its shape and speed via their control over time and space. If they only used their eyes to see, by the time the light from the human-shaped object had reached their eyes, it would already have been gone. They had to use vibration waves to sense the state and position of the human shape, and they could only feel the waves when they were within close proximity. They could only sense the waves for an instant, after which, the human-shaped object would fly past them, producing incredible shock waves. The shock wave was so strong that even Universe Supreme Masters would be severely injured if they got close. Attack! 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 Following the orders of Universe Supreme Masters, all the thousands of great beings, including Luo Feng, attacked from the side at the same time. All the attacks combined were enough to kill any Universe Supreme Master. The attacks flew 100 times faster than light speed. The combined attacks flew for a long time before they hit the giant object. The human-shaped object was 160 million light-years tall, and its feet were 30 million light-years long. Although its flying speed could hit 120 million times faster than light speed, it would take the feet around 3 months to completely change its position. Unfortunately, it moved too fast. Even though it was right beside him, Luo Feng couldn't see or sense it. Only when the group moved to the side of the front of the human-shaped object could he sense the shock waves for just an instant. In reality, the fact that they could sense a giant object flying 120 million times faster than light speed was worth celebrating. Teleportation. They all teleported at the same time. They teleported 1,000 light-years away, which was nothing compared to the length of the object's feet. Fortunately, it was 120 million times faster than light speed. Less than 4 light-years per second. They could easily catch up with it by using teleportation, so they could accurately sense the position. Attack. All the thousands of top great beings in Universe Ocean tried together and thought of nothing else. They teleported and attacked again and again. Luo Feng and the other great beings stayed beside that giant human-shaped object for 3,200 years. Luo Feng flew out of Universe Boat immediately, so he was much slower. Before he arrived, the powers already decided that they needed to keep changing the direction of the human-shaped object and made it hit Universe Boat. Redirecting it to Universe Boat required the minimum amount of change out of all the 3 lands of Extremis, yet it still required an angle of 15 degrees. All those great beings had struck the giant object for more than 3,000 years, just to gain those 15 degrees. That was why First True Master and Demon Beast Ancestor chose to publicize the news, as the first 7 powers who found the human-shaped object couldn't do it at all, and before they could redirect it 15 degrees, it would have already flown away. The direction is correct. The direction is correct. The direction is correct. Universe Supreme Masters and Universe Masters could all tell the direction using the vibration waves. And then they used its relative position of Universe Boat to determine the location. Luo Feng checked also and nodded. It will arrive at Universe Boat in around 30,000 years. Ha ha ha. We're finally going to succeed after all this time. That giant object is definitely going to hit Universe Boat. The top-tier great beings in the space were all relieved. After all, they had been concentrating on this task for more than 3,000 years, and they had been attacking it all this time. Although they didn't attack it very often, they needed to recover their godly power. The pressure still tortured everyone's nerves. They only relaxed after they knew that they had succeeded. In the outer area of Universe Boat, one of the 3 lands of Extremis, thousands of great beings stood in the outer area, looking at Universe Boat in the distance. Can Universe Boat stop it? Universe Boat is tens of millions of light-years wide and tall, and over 100 million light-years long. It's barely the same size as that giant object. It is terrifically fast. Will Universe Boat be blasted away if it was hit? I hope it can stop the giant object. All those thousands of great beings arrived in advance, waiting for the giant object to hit Universe Boat. However, they were all worried that even if Universe Boat could slow that object down, it wouldn't change much if the giant object only slowed down a little bit instead of stopping. From 120 million times faster than light speed to 30 million times faster than light speed, it was no different from those powers. I hope we can succeed. If we fail, we have to change its direction again. We have to succeed. Everyone was looking forward to it. Luo Feng was in the strike force of the Hong Alliance. He looked at Universe boat in the distance. It was a giant machine boat that was already wrecked. It kept absorbing the endless chaos air around it, and there were circles of flames around the damaged boat, permeating incredible power. Wind whirlpools and endless electric snakes. There was even 1/3 of a miniature Universe under Universe boat. Though Universe boat is already damaged, it's still swallowing the energies from the outside, even some damaged miniature universes, Luo Feng thought. Apparently, some important parts in Universe boat are still operating. As a machine type valuable that's constantly operating, it's very stable. Even though it's hit, it can resist it. Although Luo Feng thought this way, the human-shaped object was too large and fast. Time passed. All the thousands of top-tier beings in Universe Ocean were waiting. It's coming. It's coming. The giant object is coming. They sensed the vibration waves and were excited. Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City leader, and the other great beings from the Hong Alliance were excited as well. They all stayed as far away as possible and hid themselves. They didn't want to be killed by the horrifying shock wave. Although we can sense the shock wave, it might take a few years before that giant object hits Universe boat. The strike team from the Hong Alliance was in boat of Mausoleum, and they were all looking forward to it. A period of several years was nothing to supreme beings. The human-shaped object was too fast for them to see it, and if they missed the area where vibration waves spread, they couldn't sense it. They could only wait until the impact, when the vibration waves would spread everywhere. Then they would be able to sense them. Palace True Treasures floated. Supreme True Treasures, Pinnacle True Treasures, and Boat of Mausoleum. They were all waiting for it. Everyone was silent. There were no great beings in Universe boat. After a long time, invisible vibration waves were transmitted in all directions, following the time and space. Those great beings, who were hiding in the distance, all felt the horrifying vibrations, followed by destructive shock waves. Endless chaos air was torn. All the great beings felt the waves at the same time, and immediately reversed time, and tried to watch the scene. A giant, human-shaped object was flying fast. A gigantic, damaged spaceship didn't move at all. The human-shaped object collided with Universe boat. Some of the fragments around the spaceship were blasted away. The fire, the electric snakes, and the light around the spaceship were also annihilated. Then the human-shaped object struck the ancient spaceship. Its upper half hit the ancient spaceship head first. The instant the two objects collided, the space and time around them were crushed, exerting horrifying shock waves and vibration waves. The weakest vibration waves at the periphery were transmitted first, followed by the destructive shock waves. The central area of the crash was like a nightmare. The collision was so powerful that even Universe Supreme Masters, or Supreme True Treasures, would have been annihilated. The shock wave spread everywhere, 10,000 light-years, 1,000,000 light-years, 10 million light-years. The longer it traveled, the weaker it became. When it spread to the great beings several 100 million light-years away, the great beings in the Palace True Treasures couldn't be harmed anymore. However, the Palace True Treasures, including Supreme True Treasures, were still blasted away. This video will end here.